The hurt in her eyes was so real. It felt like she was genuinely upset that I'd left her, but the bride's sorrow was just an act. Behind that innocent facade, a ruthless storm was brewing, a storm that would soon engulf everything I had built. She had promised herself revenge, and boy, did she deliver. It all began with a simple text message. "Don't come." Those 2 words sent shockwaves through me. What had changed? Had I said or done something wrong? My mind raced with questions as I frantically tried to reach her, but her phone went straight to voicemail. Panic started to rise within me, and I rushed to my car, my thoughts a jumbled mess. I needed to see her, to talk to her, to understand why she was asking me to not show up. As I sped towards the church, each passing second felt like an eternity. My heart pounded against my ribs, echoing the relentless pounding of my tires on the asphalt. Finally, I arrived, but the sight that greeted me was far from what I expected. A sea of faces stared back at me, their expressions a mix of confusion and disappointment. Where was she? Was she really standing me up? The weight of those unspoken questions pressed down on me, suffocating me with their intensity. My gaze swept over the crowd, searching, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. But she was nowhere to be seen. Where was the woman I was supposed to marry? The vows we'd exchanged, the promises we'd made, they all suddenly seemed like fragments of a dream that was now crumbling before my eyes. In that moment of agonizing uncertainty, I reached out to the only person who might have answers, her brother. As I shared the message, watched his face twist with understanding. It wasn't that she hadn't sent the message, it was that she had, but only to him, not to me. Her brother, it seemed, had played a part in this charade, and he knew more than he was letting on. With a forced smile, I thanked him for the information and turned to leave. But as I walked away, I could feel the weight of his stare boring into my back. Questions swirled in my mind. What was she planning? Why had she called off the wedding? But amidst these thoughts, there was a nagging feeling of foreboding, a sense that I was stepping into a trap. Still, driven by a desperate need to understand, I followed him to her room. When I knocked on the door, I was met with silence. A heavy silence that seemed to amplify the frantic beating of my heart. Each knock echoed in the stillness, amplifying the dread that was starting to grip me. Suddenly, the door swung open, revealing a scene that both shocked and devastated me. There she was, my fiancé, standing in a wedding gown that seemed to mock the emptiness of our future together. But it wasn't just her presence that stunned me, it was the coldness in her eyes. They held a mixture of triumph and disdain that made my blood run cold. With trembling hands, I reached out to touch her, to shake her from whatever spell she had fallen under. "What's going on?" I whispered, my voice hoarse with emotion. But instead of the warmth of her embrace, I was met with a slap. Her hand connected with my cheek with a force that sent shockwaves through me. Pain flared, but it was the humiliation that truly cut deep. To be struck by the woman I loved, the woman I had planned to marry, it felt like a betrayal of the deepest kind. Through the haze of pain and confusion, I stumbled back, my gaze dropping to the floor. The wedding dress that moments ago had symbolized love and commitment now represented rejection and scorn. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the world around me. But I refused to let them fall. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing my weakness. Pride, however futile, became my shield. As I turned to leave, her words sliced through me like shards of glass. "Get out," she spat, her voice devoid of the tenderness that had once drawn me to her. "Don't ever come back." Each word echoed in the vast emptiness of the room, sealing the fate of our relationship. Defeated and heartbroken, I fled. Later, as the news of the cancelled wedding spread, rumors swirled like vultures, each whisper adding to the torment that gnawed at my soul. Accusations flew, casting me in a negative light, fueling the flames of public scrutiny. I became the subject of gossip, my private pain paraded in the streets of public opinion. The world, it seemed, had aligned against me. And in that moment of utter despair, I grappled with the harsh reality that I had been betrayed by the one person I had trusted more than anyone else. But amidst the wreckage of my shattered dreams, a new resolve began to stir within me. A steely determination that whispered of retribution, a thirst for justice. The pain of betrayal was a searing brand on my soul, and it fueled a fire that refused to be contained. I vowed to myself that I would uncover the truth, to expose the deceit that had shattered my world. No matter the cost, I would unveil the hidden motives, the lies that had ensnared me, and bring them to light. Days turned into weeks, and my focus narrowed. I immersed myself in uncovering the truth behind the abrupt cancellation of the wedding. I needed answers, and I wouldn't rest until I had them. Every lead I pursued, every conversation I initiated brought me closer to the core of the deception. I delved into financial records, scrutinized contracts, and sought insights from those who had been close to the situation. And slowly, methodically, I pieced together the fragments of the puzzle, revealing a truth that was both shocking and heartbreaking. What I discovered was a calculated betrayal, a web of lies spun by none other than my fiancé. It was her who had orchestrated this elaborate deceit, using her brother as an accomplice. Their plan had been simple, yet effective. By sending out the message to me, she had ensured that I would not attend the wedding, thereby causing a public spectacle that would humiliate and shame me. But why? What had driven her to such a drastic measure? The answer, when it finally came, hit me like a thunderbolt. She hadn't been satisfied with my social status, my humble beginnings, my modest background. It had not been enough for her. She had wanted more, and she had found it in the arms of another man. The revelation of her infidelity, of her disloyalty, it cut deep, but it also ignited a fierce determination within me. I had been wronged, but I would rise above the pain. I would prove to the world that I was more than just a victim of circumstance. I would reclaim my dignity and establish my own identity independent of the scandal. Armed with this newfound clarity, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery. I set aside time to heal, to reflect, and to strategize. I knew that I had the strength to overcome this adversity, to rebuild my life on a stronger foundation. Drawing upon the support of my friends and family, I immersed myself in my work, pouring my energy into achieving success. With each step forward, I felt a sense of empowerment, a realization that I did not need her or anyone else's approval to define my worth. I became engrossed in philanthropic endeavors, giving back to the community and making a positive impact on the world around me. Through acts of kindness and generosity, I found solace and a sense of purpose. As the months went by, I began to shed the weight of the scandal, replacing it with a renewed sense of self-confidence. I learned to forgive, not for her sake, but for my own peace of mind. I understood that holding on to anger and resentment would only hinder my progress. One day I decided to visit the place where it all began, the house where I had met my fiancé. As I stood before it, memories flooded my mind. The joy, the laughter, the dreams we had shared. It had all seemed so promising back then, but now, in the light of what I knew, it felt like a distant fantasy. With a heavy heart, I bid farewell to that chapter of my life, releasing the past and embracing the future that lay ahead of me. Today, as I look back on the journey, I am filled with gratitude for the strength that has been bestowed upon me. I am a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, proving that even in the face of adversity, one can rise, heal, and thrive. The experience has shaped me into a stronger, wiser individual ready to embrace new beginnings and conquer any challenges that may come my way.